All right, we are live on Facebook and we've got the record going on Zoom now as well. So happy Friday, Valentine's Day if you're watching this in real time, and I feel like it's very fitting on the conversation that we're about to have today because we're talking about confidence is beautiful is Bridget's, what she has put together and the summit that she ran already that she can provide us with some of the takeaways or key points there, and also then what is coming up in the near future that people can join in on. Super exciting. So I would love for you to share more about yourself. I know you used to be, I believe, on the West Coast, and now you're in Nashville, and we have some similarities there. Is that we live kind of out on some property. I've got some animals, and I know you have some property now and are looking to do more of that. So introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm outside of Chattanooga, and you're right. I used to live in Southern California in sort of a cookie cutter town home with a bunch of neighbors, and now I have like 1.5 acres with some chickens and 3 dogs, and now a cat to get the mice that I'm getting because I live in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's the family's growing. So
That's why we got a cat too. Yes, she's great too.
cat is new
She's
and
done
she's
perfect.
adorable. So yeah, hopefully I could get control over the mice. So yeah, one of the downsides, but I do love it. I love it here. I love the space. And when I moved here, that's kind of when I opened the women's clothing boutique and kind of just started to explore things outside of the corporate world, corporate America, right? And trying to, really do my own thing and help other women. And that's where the Confidence is Beautiful Summit comes in. It's really trying to put together a community of women that we're all really helping each other kind of get through this. Like, what I look at it is like when you hit like a certain age, like I want to say for me it was like about 35. I'm in my later 40s now, and you start to like really reevaluate your life. What have I been doing this whole time? Is this who I am? Is this who I want to be? Like, maybe call it midlife crisis. I don't know, but I feel like we kind of all go through that. And this summit's about helping women like navigate that part of themselves to really rediscover themselves and to develop that confidence. And it does become a total life-changing process when you start to really focus on yourself and love yourself. And that's what it's about. It's about self-love.
I like so many points that you put in there, and it is that it's like one of those transition eras, right? As like depending on where you're at with like kids and work, and if you've been working for a while or not. And I feel like I'm still in that space of like, what exactly am I supposed to be doing? And I hear this every day from different people. Are like, I don't know, like something just still doesn't feel quite right. So then what do you do? Like, I'm on that kind of discovery path too, of like, what exactly does that look like as we're transitioning, we're building more skills, we're, adding on another, program or whatever that's like feels like that's our next step, but we still don't usually have exactly like where it's taking us. I feel like I'm in the middle of that right now, this winding
Totally.
journey. So I love to hear you saying the same thing. It's like, all
I
right,
think
what's
I feel like
next?
I feel like we're all like, I don't know that you ever stop your journey. That's the cool thing about it is it's ever changing, right? It's ever evolving, and you're always like learning more about yourself. And I don't know that that ever stops. And so, even like that redefining, like, even if you feel like you don't know yet, that's okay to me, right? Because it's okay to keep redefining yourself and really like just exploring all aspects of who you are and trying new things and being adventurous and curious and like, to me, don't ever stop. And I think that when we become complacent, that's where depression can get a hold of us, where we're unsure about ourselves, where we have the self-doubt. So as long as we can remain, to me, like more elevated at the curious level and just keep pushing through and trying new things and not being afraid to just keep trying, I feel like that is how you find yourself and you become more confident because it's like you're putting yourself out there and you stop caring what other people think about what you're supposed to do. You're finding out what you want to do and what makes you happy. Because I lived how many years and people told me, well, you have to be this, you have to work here, you need to have two kids in the picket fence, right? 2.5 kids in the picket fence. It never, it never fit. I love my kids. I'm not saying that, but like it never like totally fit. Like I wasn't totally happy. And so it's really about finding out what you want, not what other people want for you. So, and this summit, which is really what's really, really, really amazing about this summit, and happy Valentine's Day, you guys. I have my heart shirt on. So it's all about self-love. Um, is like learning all the things that we can apply, like habits that we can start to change in our daily pattern. And there's all these experts that come in and they tell you different things, like different methods, different tools, different habits. And it could be a lot because they all have a different perspective. They all help women in different ways, whether it's nutrition, whether it's fitness, whether it's a relationship like coach, who's like helping you understand how to communicate better, maybe with your partner, or maybe it's coaches that are helping you understand who you are internally. Maybe like there's coaches that will go back to your childhood and help you learn like what happened to you as a child, right? What traumas and try to heal that. I mean, there's so many things to us, so many aspects to us. And it's almost like the summit gives you this like cafeteria style, like you go in and you can serve up like what you want. You could listen to everything and then you decide what works for you. You decide what areas you want to start focusing on because there's so many things we can start, but we can't do it all at once. So you just bite off a little by little by little. And what's cool about the summit too is once it's over, if you buy VIP, you can, have all the interviews forever for a lifetime. And then you can go back and you can bite off more, and listen again or get re-inspired by someone you heard 6 months ago. Let me get re-inspired again because you know what I mean? I fell off the wagon. And so that's what's really cool because I'm telling you, it's jam-packed with a lot of awesome information.
Yeah, and I love that you can pull off what is maybe relevant to you at the time, or maybe what you feel like you can manage at the time, because it is, and it comes with the whole confidence piece of like, what do I feel like I can actually manage right now that's going to help boost me up and not be like, oh my gosh, like I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, versus like, oh, but I can take this right now. And then maybe in a little bit, once I've got that foundation, I can do this. And it is that, what can you prioritize to give a little bit of that self-care? And that's, yeah, as like
Yeah.
a busy mom, I definitely can latch on to that right now. There's some things like I reach a point, I'm like super, super exciting and I love this and love this, but then you reach a point and then it's like you can
Yeah, if you
deplete so
do that,
fast.
yeah, you burn yourself out, right? And sometimes too, because you want to do so much, we have to give
Hmm.
ourselves grace and be patient with ourselves, right? And
Yes.
we're our worst critics. I feel like I beat myself up a lot of time, and this has actually been a learning process for me to stop beating myself up and to realize there's a lot to this. And I have started working on areas where I know I'm lacking after hearing from these experts, like literally so many aha moments. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like I'm missing that. There's something here that I need to work on. And literally, it almost feels like you said, once you can master something, it gives you the momentum too to do more and then do more and then I don't know, it's just like you build up the momentum and you build up the courage and you build up the stamina. And yeah, you don't want to do too much. We don't want to burn ourselves out, but it's almost like once you start doing it, you know what I mean? Like once you start, it's like rolling downhill. Like it just keeps you keep that momentum just it's like so encouraging because you see the changes in yourself and it's like I want it more and I want more and it's life changing, you guys. It really truly is.
And I think as we see it in ourselves too, and we actually integrate and because I think we all have these beliefs of like who we are and what we want to be able to do and how we're seen and like all these things. But then once we actually feel it ourselves and like we actually truly believe like this is who I am. I am grounded. I am balanced. Like I am healthy. I do my wellness routine, my stretching, my whatnot. Then it like you see yourself and then the outside world also is healthier because of that. So
Yeah.
like the relationships are going to be better balanced. Like if you're working on yourself on something, a lot of times it's that reflection of something else that's around you. But if I balance it in myself, then like it calms down on the outside world is what I've been hearing a lot lately, like this mirror kind of effect
The mirror
and
effect, yeah. It's true. And this is the funny thing, you guys, is too, when you start working on yourself and people see there's differences in you, right? Like, wow, like she's different. She's not reacting maybe the same way that she would have before. She seems more joyful. She seems happier. She seems lighter, brighter, whatever. Like people will notice, like you said, some people get intimidated by it. And
yeah.
there's people that actually will like shy away from that and don't. It's weird, but what's cool about it though is it becomes like you said, it's the mirror. You get more clarity on who is around you and you see things differently and you see things for really what they are, and it's almost like the veil is lifted. And that could actually be really scary because it does produce change in your life. And that is scary because sometimes we're just comfortable, even if we're comfortable in negativity and what things that are harmful to us. So the transition can be difficult. As you're becoming happier, it actually can become a struggle with people on the outside. But eventually you get to the other side and things fall away that should fall away and things come to you that should come to you. And like you said, you pointed out that balance starts to happen. So it doesn't happen like right away. That clearing has to happen first. And I feel like it's a constant thing. It's like a cycle. You're going to go through the clearing and then you're going to attract the positive and attract what's good. And then you're going to step up another level. It's like steps. And it's like a constant, does that make sense? It's like a constant
Yes.
cycle that you're going to repeat and keep repeating and keep repeating because it can be really hard.
Yeah, and I think especially we repeat things if we haven't really owned them yet. Like if we really aren't
Yeah.
confident in that area yet, and we're like, no, this is what I want to be. We're like gratitude journaling on it, we're visioning it, we're like, this is what I want. But are you there yet or not? It's kind of that little push each time. You're like, oh, not quite there. Okay, we're getting closer, but we're not quite there yet. So it
And that's
is,
hard
it's
to
that
accept
cycle, but you're
sometimes.
going
Yeah.
upward each time. It
Yeah.
feels like you get knocked back down, but you're like, okay, here we are again. But how am I different this time that I can move through it a little bit easier
Oh,
and
true. That is
yeah,
true.
makes the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah,
So that we
totally.
are I think too what you said earlier is that we're always moving forward. When we are comfortable and we're like everything is, ignorance is bliss, right? And when we see something or we want to like move to that next level that isn't comfortable for either ourselves and or ourselves and people around us, then that's where we need that confidence. Be like, but this really is what I want. So how do we get that confidence? What would you say? A couple of like maybe three things that like to help boost this confidence. So you do a lot with the fashion, and I love seeing your emails that you've been putting out. I love going to your boutique site and seeing the things that you try on and that you model. And then,
Yeah.
how do we get to that point of showing up not only in our skin but our emotions, but who we are and stepping into things like that rather than just being comfortable.
Right. Yeah. And hiding. I look at it as almost like if you're not putting yourself out there in a physical way too, which is, what I do through the styling, like helping people try to find who they are inside and then able to express that on the outside. I feel like when you shy away, you're hiding. And so
So
Why do we
I
hide?
really hope.
Because we're not confident. Well, why are we not confident? And we come up with all these excuses. Well, I'm overweight, or, I'm not worthy to look that way because I'm overweight, or maybe I don't want to stand out in the room and I want to just be, in the shadows, because it's comfortable sometimes being in the shadows. But to me, it's like you're also hiding who you are and who your authentic self is, and you're also depriving the world of your gifts and what you can offer, what you do offer to other people. So if we can concentrate on, because like you said, like, well, how do I get out and more comfortable in my skin and in how I'm presenting myself? You just have to, like, it's like any skill or any discipline or any habit you have to change. You just have to start somewhere. You have to start doing something somewhere. So maybe it's getting up in the morning and instead of putting your sweats on, you actually just put a pair of jeans on. You're elevating from the sweats to the jeans, and then you're starting somewhere, and then you see how you feel with that. Like me putting on this cute little sweater, I could have put on like a hoodie or something a little bit more, I don't know, you know what I mean, not as feminine.
Casual. For sure.
Yeah, but like I want to look feminine. I want this actually, like, looking at this makes me happy. It's Valentine's Day. Like, it makes me happy, and that's if you start with little tiny things like that. Put on a cute pair of earrings with your hoodie, and you start to see how your mood is elevated. It's going to encourage you to keep trying and doing more things and adding more and going to the grocery store in a cute pair of, I don't know, booties rather than your Uggs. Just like little things, and just see how it makes you feel. And that's what all of this is about with self-love. It's a form of self-care. So then what happens when you go and wear a cute dress to Walmart, right? Rather than your sweats. And I'm telling you, people will notice and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, that's such a cute dress." And you'll notice that it's going to actually pull you out from the shadows. It's going to
Mhm.
actually encourage you because people are coming to you. People are getting me more attracted by the way you're presenting yourself. And then you become more comfortable in coming out of the shadows and coming into your own and talking to people and connecting with people. It's almost like when you just start somewhere, um, it pulls you out naturally. And it's like we were talking about, it's like a gradual thing, right? It doesn't all happen at one time. It's a journey. But I'm telling you, like, if you just do the little things and then you do more and more and you get more encouraged and you meet people and they love what you're wearing and they see you shine and you're happy. You're like, yeah, I have my cute little, I mean, you know how many compliments I got on this sweater? It's
Yeah.
fun, And so it's just starting somewhere. Little things.
And what, with all of that in there, it made me think of being seen. Like, are you ready to be seen? And you mentioned your authentic self. So are you ready to be seen for who you are? Are you still like kind of like, I just want to go and do my stuff and not really like I don't want to talk to anybody. But once we have that social interaction or somebody like notices your shirt, because wearing something like that today, they're like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, and they might even like lift up just like seeing you and remembering, oh, today is like a special day or like something that's
Yeah.
different from every other day. So you're not only going to affect yourself, as you're probably going to put a smile on somebody else's face. And yeah, it is that whole, we're social beings, that whole
We
like
are.
interaction, how we can help support each other. And I feel like that's a big part of my mission is like creating this community. And that's, part of what you're doing too within like supportive women, but just creating communities where we actually go out and we present ourselves and we, dress up to that next level. It's
Encourage each
interesting because I
other.
heard,
Yeah.
yeah, the recently, oh, it was something in the school where I'm at, I believe, and so they're talking about when, things that are socially appropriate, like when do you wear your pajamas versus when do you put on like jeans and stuff. And I like go to school every day. I'm like, well, nowadays is way different than when I remember going to school. Like you had pajama
Right?
day like one day a year.
Yeah,
now there's some kids that every day is pajama day. And so I'm like, how does that affect
I
the
know.
confidence of like the youth and how, and it's not only in youth, it's you, like you said, you go to, the store or whatever. How does that affect our overall confidence and like the frequency at which we operate and what our health level is at if we're always in that kind of, if so many people are in that like retracted mode versus like I dress up to go out to public. Like it's such an
That's
odd,
a
and
good
I don't know when
point
this
you made.
happened.
Yeah, that's a good point you just made with the health aspect because it is all tied together. It is all tied together and the mental health too,
Yeah,
right? Because
this part especially. Yeah,
if I'm dressing myself down because for whatever reason, maybe it's just comfortable for you, but it does something to you psychologically because you're not putting any care and effort,
effort.
right? And so you're not putting any care and effort into even your thoughts. It's so all interconnected. Even our physical health, even like getting up and going for a walk and going outside rather than staying inside, it does something with your mentality and how you approach the day. It's the same physical presentation and not only that, how people act towards you. So if
Yes.
people don't find you worthy because you're not showing that you have the self-worth, right? Because you're not taking the time to present yourself in a way, the way they treat you. And then now I'm being treated differently or not with as much care or I'm not getting the attention. You go back into your hole, you become depressed. I mean, like literally it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know what we're teaching our youth because we're not teaching them the importance of taking care of themselves, right? And you notice, right, depression and suicide rate is so high.
yeah.
So there's
It has
definitely
got
interconnections. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is, and and that kind of thought came up just a little bit ago, so I think that's going to be like a theme in here of it is, it's really this dynamic circle of what we're putting on ourselves and then like what we're receiving back from that, and then what we're able to give out of that. Like it is this like building that will continue to elevate and the more people we can bring up and it can be simple and it can be something like going to a boutique and like finding something special but I feel like it can even be going to one of the days that I've had the most compliments is I have this shirt that I wear and actually a skirt too. It's like this off-white skirt that's like this knitted kind of pattern and I got it at a thrift store like five
Yeah.
years ago and I get the most compliments out of it than anything I wear.
Isn't that
So it is
crazy? Yeah.
interesting that it doesn't even have to
You don't
be,
have to
you don't
spend a
have to
lot of
spend a lot of
money.
money. It's
Mm-mm.
just something that you find, you're like, oh, that's different, but it fits me, that it's like it just,
And you
yeah,
like it represents you, in a way. As long as you're Yeah, as long as it makes you feel good, you like it, it's gonna show. It's gonna show externally to other people that, yeah, I'm like this, I look cute today.
yeah,
I like this. It's
yeah,
I don't know, it's the energy, right, that we give off. It is contagious. It is. So if
yes,
we are like hiding, that's contagious. People are gonna be like, okay. And sometimes we tell ourselves that that's okay. We tell ourselves, I don't want to be, but I'm telling you that hiding, I don't feel like you're happy. I don't feel like it makes you happy.
yeah,
I think it's safe, but safety, the short term isn't what's good for you in the long term, right?
right.
It's, and
You're
again,
playing small.
we all have something to give. We all have something to offer. We all do. And so you're depriving we were talking about you're depriving your relationships, you're depriving the people around you from benefiting from what you have to offer because you're hiding and you're not, being the leading lady. You're depriving people of your gifts. So don't do that. We all have gifts.
I think that's a great start too to get to like, how do we get there? I think it starts with like maybe it's a journal or maybe it's a vision board or maybe it's a thought that keeps going through our mind or something that is that spark. You're like, if I could do this, like I would be like the happiest person in the world if I could do this every single day. And feel like we always ask kids when they're little, like, what do you want to
What do
be
you
when you
want
grow up? And
to be?
they have
Yeah.
these big dreams and ideas, and then somewhere along the lines, like they either like maybe they choose like I would never actually want to do that. They figure out what it actually is, or maybe there's something in there like or you're not good enough. I feel like
Yeah.
comes up for some situations of like so then that dream falls away and like okay well then what instead of like lifting up be like well why not it why am I not good enough why am I not worthy of doing that
Right.
that it becomes a mindset of like if every day we really do set our vision and we work on the clarity of like what exactly does that look like for me then that also if we hold that energy of like I see myself doing this then that also allows us to carry forth and do more of the other things so working out eating healthy foods rather than going the other direction of like, oh, I'm in this space again. What's in the cupboard? Or, I'm
Yeah.
tired. So I'm gonna go to the TV series that now run for days and days and days that you
And you
didn't
binge
used to
on
have
them.
that, right? You
Yeah.
used to have to wait for like a week to find out what happened next. Now people binge watch and rather than like, all right, it's time to turn it off and go for a walk or they all kind of all
Yeah.
interplays and who we are and those like moment to moment choices, I would
Yeah.
say. Like what choices? So that can be like an action step of like what choice can you make today that will help shift or boost your confidence? And I know like several of your speakers are going to talk about things like that of like, well, what are some simple things that one thing you can do each day that will then
Yeah.
help you in that process? And maybe it's this one thing for a month, but is there maybe like
Right.
you said, habits? Is there
Habits.
one habit a quarter? I heard this toward the end of last year of like one habit a quarter that you can change. Imagine how different you're going to look in a year, in 2 years, and
Wow.
so what habit would that be that would support this notion as well of who you are and how you
Yeah. That's a good point to approach the summit like that. Like figure out where do you want to be in a year? Where do you want to be in 2 years? Who do you want to be? And if you don't know, that's okay. What are your biggest pain points? What do you want to focus on? And then, yeah, watch the experts who are going to give you the advice, give you the tools, and give you the habits that you can start. And just like you said, pick something. Just pick something. It's a cafeteria. Just pick something, start there. I think the morning routine is huge. If you don't have a morning routine, to me, that's a great place to start. And if that is getting dressed, if that is a devotional, if that is don't look at your phone right at when you first wake up. Take the time to
yeah,
focus. What am I doing today? What do I want for my day? So there's a lot of things
yeah,
that you can definitely
mindfulness,
start. Yeah. The morning thing I think is huge because that sets your whole day. It sets your whole week. Um, but yeah, just start small because
social
you're
media.
right. If you know where you want to be, focus on that. And then, you know what I mean? Like have your yeah, focus on what you want to be. And then that's easier than to identify the steps that you want to take to get there. What do you want to focus on in your life? Because you can't do it all. Girl,
Yeah,
I still got to figure out my nutrition right now. That's my hurdle right now is nutrition. So when we hit over 40, the things that we were doing before don't work. They just don't work, right? We're gaining weight, our hormones are all out of whack. And so, what I'm doing with this summit is we've got great people coming to talk about that for over 40. What are we going to do with our nutrition? Don't listen to all these people talking about keto and this and that because they're telling you the wrong thing. You're listening to the wrong advice. We want to listen to advice from women who know women, right? Women who've been there, done that. They know what women our age need. Let's listen to those experts. And I'm super excited about that. So that's going to be my personal step this year, nutrition. I'm not going to do
excellent.
what you just said. And I just go rummage. I'm like, what am I going to eat? I have like peanut butter and
So you're like, no,
I
what makes
don't,
me feel good? What am I going to put in there that actually makes me feel good? Yeah,
I
it's a
don't eat.
process.
Yeah,
The
it is
thinking, the
horrible.
planning, right?
It's the planning and that it takes time, right? And so you have to be intentional about it. So yeah, find what you want to be intentional about, and then like you said, just do a little bit at a time, and you can't do it all, and that's okay. So I haven't done it. I've neglected myself physically. It's my time. This is my I mean, I haven't neglected myself all the whole, you know what I mean? Just a little bit.
It's yeah, and we all find those pieces of like, okay, what was the biggest piece that kind of fell off while we were like focusing on everything around us, and then we can start building back into like make ourselves whole again and figure out kind of like what we started on, like this journey that we're on of where we're at now, where we're going, even if we may or may not be able to see it, but we have the vision of what it looks like or somewhat of an idea. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
those are great takeaways, and I'm really excited for. So you have already done one summit
So
version,
yeah, if they
and
don't,
that's
yeah,
available still, right?
it is available. So we did one in October. I just relaunched it again as we're kind of prepping for the next one. So the first one I've done, you could go now and you can sign up and you can get all of the interviews. You've got 48 hours to watch them and do it now so you could get all that information because it was all awesome information. And then we're launching another summit on March 31st. So it's springtime. It's actually a really good time to think about, after we get out of this kind of winter blues. I always look at winter as it's hard. Winter's hard for me. Like, it's hard. And so this is good timing to me because this is like, okay, we're going to start 2025 started out weird too, you guys, like totally strange.
I
So
bet.
let's look forward to spring and starting afresh. And then we have a whole new round of experts. You've got 48 hours to watch their interviews. You've got an option to buy lifetime access. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So look at what we've got now. Grab it while you can, because then it goes away, because then we're gonna have a whole second round. And but it's all great information.
Wonderful. I am really grateful you joined us today in these tips. And I think really the foundation is it's about us, right? Like every person watching this, regardless of who you are, where you're at, that you can take something, make a choice, choose what your next goal is or what your next, what you feel like you can master, and just do that one thing even. And then when you feel like you've got that, you've got the confidence and you see the difference, people see the difference, and that will then like give you this fire, be like, let's do it again.
Let's
So.
go for it. Yeah, totally. Totally. Thank you for having me. And thank you for all what you're doing too. So we'll be in
You are
touch.
welcome.
Yes, I love it. All right. Thanks, Dr.
All right, until next time.